Hi, this is Mike Rubel coming to you from my YouTube channel, Author Rubel. And of course, if you're watching this video, you obviously must be on it. So make sure that you subscribe to it and share it with your friends so that they can partake in some of these letters from the edge that I'm posting now. And my first one, of course, was Best Friends, but this one is called The Cat. It goes like this. It was an ordinary cat that must have had multiple fathers, which generated a multicolored fur, camel, interspersed with bits of black, a white stomach, black tail, and its defining feature, two white paws. Cynthia had named it Fluffy Two Shoes, but I just called it Cat. Besides, cats don't come when you call their name anyway. They're free spirits and usually only come when they hear a can of cat food being opened at dinner time. How sweet it is to have the luxury to sleep and do what you want and pretend to be hunting for food, knowing full well that you'll be splendidly treated at the end of the day with a meal. Then someone will scratch your stomach while you purr loudly and arch your back. I just finished doing some yard work, my favorite thing in the entire world, and afterwards I sat in the shade of the oak tree that dominated the backyard. I thought back to the time when Cynthia left and wondered why she didn't take her favorite pet, the cat. I was over the shock of it now and had tried to move on with my life, but yet always wondered why she never took the damn cat, along with the other stuff she took. I'd returned from a business trip and coming through the front door, called out her name. There was no answer, and as I walked into the kitchen, I noticed my favorite chair was gone. Maybe she was having it reupholstered. I didn't think it needed reupholstering, but women have a different view of a man's chair. It's always out of place, messy, and doesn't fit the decor of the room. I continued to the bedroom, and when I opened the door, was shocked to see the bed gone. This was getting strange. I looked in the closet and found that she'd taken all her clothes. The reality of it sank in. She had left, but why? How? And where had she gone? I know we were having problems over the past few months, but not this bad. Then it struck me. My chair. She took my chair. It was the only thing of my early bachelor days that really was my comfort zone. I looked frantically for a note and finally found it wedged under a can of beer in the refrigerator where she knew I'd see it. Dear Tim, she said, sorry about the short notice, but had to do this while you were away. Leaving was tough, but it had to be done. We were growing old and apart, and I needed more of a commitment from you. Wow, I thought. She was only 30, an age that seemed young to me at 37, but she took my chair. There are a few other notable things gone, but it was just a shock to see that the house was basically empty. Here I was sitting on the backyard when I noticed out of the corner of my eye the cat standing rigid, with the only tip of its tail flicking back and forth. Ah, the great multicolored hunter was hard at it again, slaying the beasts of the yard. The last time she caught something, it was a mouse, and she ate half of it and decided that I should have the rest. She deposited it on the doorstep where I unceremoniously stepped on it while going to the sidewalk for the morning paper. She moved stealthily through the tall shrubs, the native flora and fauna, and clumps of ryegrass towards some unknown target. I recalled that Cynthia insisted that we take a portion of the yard and dedicate it to nature, thereby enhancing the normal life of bugs, bees, and birds, and other living creatures. After some argument by me, I relented, and now there was a multi-dimensional jungle that rivaled the greatest rainforest. What did this natural garden area have to do with the neighborhood and Earth in general? Anyway, Cat was moving now more deliberately and compressing her body to the ground. I looked ahead of her and spotted what must have been the target of this silent assault. It was a semi-deflated balloon that must have blown into the yard from a child's party and was now barely visible above the tall grass. Occasionally the wind would blow and a piece of ribbon would move provocatively like some multicolored alien. Finally the cat was close and lowered itself into a deep crouch, gathered her legs under her for the final lunge. In a flick of an eye, she leapt. over the remaining few feet and landed on top of the balloon, which promptly bounced her off like a trampoline. She picked herself up and casually walked around to ensure no other cat had seen this display of idiocy and walked elegantly back towards the house. Seeing me, who doesn't seem to count in the embarrassing moment audience, she strutted by and rubbed her furry body on my pant leg. Thanks, cat, I said. You were splendid. She disappeared and thought the cat and I had a lot in common. She stealthily pursued a target she thought was real, just like I did with Cynthia, only to find that the dream of success took on a different hue when we both were bounced to the side as if our efforts were meaningless in the overall scheme of things. As for the cat, her reverie would end the moment I opened the cat food. For me, I thought again about how Cynthia and I had met. It was a warm, sunny day in the park by the river where I was jogging along the bank for my weekly exercise. She was wearing a floppy hat that, in a gust of wind, blew off her head, landed at my feet. I almost tripped on it, but managed to keep it out of the river. She thanked me, of course, and I introduced myself. We spoke for a while and later agreed to have a glass of wine at a local pub further downstream. That was it, the start of a perfect relationship, or so I thought. We enjoyed all the same things and frequently went on long hikes through the mountains and the forest and had fallen deeply in love. We'd been living together for 2 years, and the sadness I felt when discovering she had left was overwhelming. We had talked of marriage many times, but she was younger and needed to do something with her life before she finally settled down to the family life and the responsibilities of child rearing and homemaking. I told her that we had worked something out to make it right for the both of us, but it didn't seem to be enough. Yes, we did grow apart, but never discussed it in any length. My mistake. It was my fault that I had taken our relationship for granted. I closed my eyes and tried to imagine her there in the yard, lying peacefully under the tree in the hammock I bought for her. When I opened my eyes, I noticed the sun was set behind a faraway hill, and its last golden rays shone brightly as they sliced through the branches of the oak tree. It was a ray of hope, a sign that things would be better, that all things end and begin anew, just like sunset and sunrise. This time, however, my new life would start without my favorite chair, but I would still have the damn cat. Thank you very much. Good night.